Greetings, I, giving thanks, praises be unto His Majesty, Selassie I, strength. And so, I've been getting advertisements from people seeking to ride the Babylon Beast. And this one come in recently. This man, he wants to be our representative here on the Polk Plantation. You know, he's a real police guy. He's down with the cops. And he's got a picture here with Greedy Judd. And as you can see, he's blaspheming His Majesty. And this is not the only place where I've seen this. This is a common thing now. I actually saw the other guy running for the high office, Donnie Shills, in a picture with his wife and his son or whatever they are, you know, blaspheming His Majesty, you know, the sign of the Holy Trinity. And so, as I mentioned, this is a battle. It's a real struggle. We must defend our faith. And we must do so diligently to know the seriousness. This is life or death. And so when you see these people on the street, whether they be police, elected officials, or whatever, you know, ask them some questions. Ask them what they know. We have this recent episode where the Donnie Shills is being, you know, put on the spot for some comments he made, supposedly 11 years ago, whatever. I mean, we don't need to hear these comments. We already know what this guy is about. The Wicked Witch, she ain't no different, you know. But what we need to understand is these people working together. Even these comments that were made, you know, in a so-called whatever apology, it was like, it was mentioned that, you know, Bill the Predator Clinton. You know, this is not something that we can deny. Where the youth is absorbing this and saying, wow, this is the world we gotten into. And, you know, for the most part, they're probably excited because we're living in wicked times, you see? And so I always kind of saw it like the guy Donnie Shills, he's like the guy from Back to the Future. The bully guy, you know, and then in Back to the Future, when he takes over, you know, he ends up in this like, this real modern, commercialized world, and Marty McFly's mother is the guy's wife, right? And she's got the boob job, you know. So I think that the youth is seeing this the same way, you know, whereas that they think like, you know, this is somebody who will bring us into that, you know, man-made, you know, place. And for the most part, they've been trained to want that, to desire, to lust, to go lusting, to go a-whoring after other gods. And so this is entirely our responsibility, because the older generation evidently is not going to do anything about it, right? If they were, they would have already. Up to us now. And I'm not here to diss anyone, you know. It's not everybody. It's not everybody. And you know, but as guilty as the older generation is, we can't hold that responsibility onto our elders when we're the ones with the energy, yeah? Because we certainly can't ask the youth to save us, because the youth are looking up to us as an example. And so it has to be us, man. Us middle-aged people, you know, to step up to the plate and you know, try to steer the ship back in the right direction. Now, we know that most people aren't going there because it's been proclaimed until, you know, it is rewritten. The youth, as it stands right now, are being sucked in to the mystery Babylon beast, and they're being forced to depend on that beast for milk. Yeah. And so, and this time, you know, we have to set the story straight. Now, for one, first of all, you know, I myself got fooled. I admit it. You know, I did the Ross Report thing. And, you know, it was originally the whole Ross Reports, the initial one with the S, was an attack on Babylon. And you know, there wasn't any planning involved. It was just, this is how it is. You know, if you sit back and you do nothing, like Bob says, say something. If you do nothing, though, you're gonna have the same results, and you're gonna have, you know, little to no protection. Now, people say, well, why stick your neck out? You know, you're putting risk on yourself. You know, you might be endangering your family or something like that. Well, I see that there's really no other way to it. This has been done out of necessity, because either way the Babylon beast is coming down on us. So we have to learn how to defend for ourselves. Now, I've seen people, I've been in fights, and I've seen people in fights, and I know that when we fight back, the bullies will back off, right? And that's what I'm doing here. I'm fighting back. It doesn't mean all my moves have been perfect, right? I've been punched a few times. Maybe I've been struck to the ground. But I'm willing to get back up. Yeah, so they might have hacked my account. Maybe I can't get into some of those videos and probably delete them, as I probably would, because I really didn't intend to have that many videos. You know, just put out videos, see what works. Go back, comb it over, clean up a little bit. But obviously that couldn't happen. So if I were to sound immature or somewhat ignorant in the past, hey, I admit it. Maybe. But that doesn't mean, that's not going to stop us from continuing forward and to grow. You know, Bob said, make way for a positive day. It doesn't mean a positive day is just going to land in our lap one day. We have to make way for it. It's going to be a real struggle. And not everything's just going to come out perfect. But, you know, I always challenge people to ask myself, if you have a problem, bring it up. If you disagree, let's have a debate. Let's have an honest conversation. The way I see it is people aren't willing to do that. So we need to confront people, especially if they're public servants, and begin to ask them these questions that they claim to be so important to them. I just heard someone on the radio talking about this Donnie Shills thing where he said he was going to grab a woman's pussy or whatever. This man's he's a rapist. These people are rapists because they drug up women and they have sex with them, right? The women have been preconditioned to take it. That doesn't mean that they're consenting. That means that they've been brainwashed, like put under a spell. And, you know, and through this capital charm that they're going to be under a trance, and so it's not necessarily the person's volunteering to do it. Same thing with work. If people are hungry, they got no money, and they got to feed their family, they're going to accept a job that they might not approve of otherwise, but they're so hungry that they have to work. Sometimes they even have to steal, right? It doesn't mean the person's evil. It doesn't mean the person should be condemned to everlasting hell. It just means that that person is hungry, and they're going to do what they have to do to feed their family, okay? So when you put people in certain positions, when you tell the young daughters, you know, go ahead and show your flesh, because this is how you're going to get what you want. And when you get what you want, like Britney Spears type, then everyone's going to want to bless you, to come over and be your friend. And that's what we all desire, right? This is what all Babylon trains its people to think. You know, the more people that come over and be a friend, the more successful you are. But it's not so in our way, because even the Christ has written that many will be called, and yet few will be chosen. So we're looking at the situation. You say, question them. Ask them, for example, the police. You take an oath to the Bill of Rights. Can you incite those bills? Can you just give me 5 of them? Okay. The guy on the radio talking about, you know, even though Donnie Shell say this or that, he's still okay because he opposes the nuclear deal with Iran. What he said threatened Israel. Okay? Well, let's get this straight, man. But these people that sit and talk about Israel, ask them, what is Israel? Where does the word come from? Tell me a little something about it. Find out if they know the biblical context of that word, for one. Then come to find out, okay, then why, if you know what it means in the Bible, then why are you referring to it as this state? Where's the connection? And they're going to say, oh, that's the ancient Jewish people and they've come back together. We'll say, didn't you know what the word Ashkenazi is? We're not saying that people can't be Jews. If they choose to be Jews, they choose to be Jews. But guess what? They better at least know what the word is. They better at least know what the word Judah is, and Judea, and the word Jew that comes from Kings. Yeah, the second book. So ask them, do you know what the word Jew means? Okay, you've got this clan that is organized, and they set up this network that is supposed to be called the Anti-Defamation League, and they're supposed to be protecting the so-called Jewish people. All right, so here's what these people do. They're like the state, where they put out these counter-narratives. When you see a picture of the Rothschilds, and it says all this stuff about Jews, the Jew media, the Jew this, the Jew that, this is put out by the ADL. And the purpose is to discourage people from really seeking out the truth, from really knowing what's going on. Okay? So in other words, if you hear something and you say, wow, the Rothschilds, I'm gonna look them up and see if they have anything to do with anything. You stumble across these videos and start telling you about, oh, they're dirty Jews and Jews and Jews and Jews. And it's totally anti-humane, basically. I'm not gonna call it Semitic, I'm gonna just call it, it's not humane, it's not rational, you know, there's no basis, there's no foundation, it's kind of floating. It's a conspiracy theory, all right? These are put out by the ADL so that the people that are interested in knowing, they stumble, usually the youth, usually younger people, they stumble across it, they listen to it, and then they make a decision based on what they just saw. So that's what people are doing. They're basing their decisions on what we see. And most of what people are seeing now is on their smartphone. And it's controlled by these networks of oppression. Yeah? So let's get the facts straight, you know? There's real Orthodox Jewish people out there. Some of them have light skin, some of them have dark skin. The one thing they have in common is they follow the laws of Moses. That's it. It doesn't matter if you Germanic or if you Ethiopian. If you follow the law, you are considered to be of the Hebrew faith. That doesn't make you a Jew though, because Jew is of the tribe of Judah. Right? So let's all get our facts straight before we open our mouth, and myself included. That's what we're trying to do here. And again, I'll state that some of the videos I put out in the past, I would have already deleted. You know, I had one. Well, you know, I really don't. This is the thing, is that I'm putting myself on the line. And I'm not here to try to put anyone else out or force anyone else on the line. So some of these videos, you know, maybe maybe I was wrong or whatever. Again, when we fight in a battle, we don't always make the best decisions. Sometimes we take a blow. Important thing is we get back up. Now, as far as some other statements that were made, you know, as far as abortion goes, either one of these people, you're still gonna have abortions. You can't tell me, you get a guy like Donnie Shilson there, all of a sudden, abortion stops. First of all, there's only one place that I know about in the country that's still prohibiting abortion, in Texas, right? And even there, you can get abortion, you just have to drive a little bit longer distance. They want more clinics or whatever in different places. But it becomes the topic of the day because it's a big diversion. It's supposed to cloud other issues, perhaps to do with the chip, perhaps to do with DNA, perhaps to do with mind control. You know, all these things that are very evident that they're using the smartphone to push their own agenda are not being disclosed to common individuals. They don't. People. The thing is, people can't think about this stuff. They can think about this, and then this, but they can't think about this because when they think about this, their behaviors change, and they change in a way that doesn't suit Babylon. Babylon desires for people to be under complete control. So these are all tactics to divide the multitude of people, and the multitude of people are biting, they're chewing, and they're swallowing. And so therefore we must do our best to educate people, and yet if they're not willing to listen, it's time for us to go. It's time for us to break away. I have a dream, and yet my dream is real. It can be achieved. We can no longer be suffocated by evildoers. We can no longer be sentenced to sit in the seat of sin. We haven't done anything wrong, and therefore we should not be forced to be penalized. If they decide to not obey the commandments of the Father, to inflict pain onto Him, we want nothing to do with it. We have no support. We will not contribute to their way. We must protect the Father at every cost. We must know that man does not have faith in the Father. Man has faith in himself. And therefore, it is an ultimate sin, a breach of the first commandment, for us to follow in man's ways. So are we getting his tricks? And how long are we going to wait? Have we not seen enough? So we're going to have to find a way to organize. Just like when the Vietnam War was happening and people came together and organized. Nowadays, you hear all the pundits telling us how great social media is, and that it's going to be our savior, and that we're going to be able to organize around it and come together and live in this harmonious life. However, social media cannot be that great, because we have wars all around, and we don't have people coming together as they did in the Vietnam War when social media was non-existent. I don't know what the answer is. I don't have all the answers. I have questions. I have questions for those people that say they're our authority, that they rule over us. Then they be given the staff, the rod. I have questions for them. It's just too bad they're not willing to answer. Giving thanks. Jah. Rastafari.